Okay, everybody, so we are going to look at measures of central tendency. So there are three of them that I'm going to expect you to know. They are mean, median, and mode. And you might have seen these before in a high school or maybe even a middle school class. So mean, this is what most people think of when you say average. So average, right, is when you add up all of the numbers. So, right, remember our symbol for adding all things up is the capital sigma. So we add up all of the values and then we divide by the number that there are. So add them up, right? Add up and divide by how many. Median, this is the value in the middle. So you will hear this word, I meant to say middle, you will hear this word in the news if a lot of times about house prices. They'll say the median house price is. So that's if you line all of the prices of houses, smallest to largest, and whichever one is in the middle. So you have to arrange the data, and then you find the middle value. And then mode, this is most often, most frequent. So a statistic, before we go further, a statistic, this is a value from a sample. Okay, remember, a sample is a subset of the population. So a statistic is a value that comes from a sample. A parameter, this is a value that comes from the population. So hopefully everybody's family took the census this year, right? This is the census year. So that is a parameter, right? The government is trying to get a count of everybody in the population, as opposed to, right, when you just ask a certain subset. So statistics use the Latin alphabet. That's the one that we use, right? Parameters, we're going to use the Greek alphabet. So you're going to learn a number of Greek letters. So that'll be fun. So sigma is our first one. So this is a capital sigma. So just like in the Latin alphabet, some of our letters look different if they're lowercase or uppercase. Same thing for the Greek alphabet. So this is the uppercase sigma. So S makes this sound in Greek. Okay, so here's our first example. So these are some of the calories for a serving size of the cereals in my pantry right now. So we're going to find all three measures of central tendency for this list of numbers. Hopefully you can see that. Maybe you can zoom in. So mean, and we're just going to do this. I have my calculator here, and hopefully you can kind of see the screen. So we're going to add them all up. I'm going to show you a different way here soon, but right now, this is you can do this on any calculator. You could do it by hand if you wanted. But I'm just typing all of those values in and adding them up. So the total, when I add them all up, is 1410, and then I have 7 of them. So then I'm going to divide by 7. If you're going to do this all in one set instead of doing an enter in between, make sure you put parentheses around that top, otherwise you'll get a value that doesn't make sense. So 201.4. We'll give one more decimal value than we had. So 201.4 is the average number of calories and a serving size for the cereals that I currently have. Okay, median, so this is the value in the middle. So before I can do that, I need to put these guys in order. So 150 is my smallest, and I have to cross these off so that I don't forget anybody. 170, 190, 210, 250, and 280 is the last one. Okay, so if it's small like this, I usually count in toward the middle. So these guys, right? So I'm kind of trying to find the one in the middle. So these. Looks like 190 is my middle value. Now, the other way you can do that, since I have 7 values, you want to find the middle position. So the middle position, right, when they're in order, is you take the number that you have, divide it by 2, and then round up. And that'll give you the position of the median value. So 7 over 2 is 3.5. round up to 4, so it's the number in the 4th position. That's the median. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And there it is. Okay, mode, most often. So when I look at my list, I don't have anything that repeats. So I don't actually have a mode on this one. So someone would just say, no mode. Okay. You can have one mode, you can have 2 modes. Usually if it gets beyond that, you'd say no mode. Right, so if I had another 210, for instance, then I would say 210 is the mode. If I had another 210 and another 160, I could say they're both modes. But if I had 3 of the values, then I'd be back to my no mode situation. Okay, so that's how you do it for a small list of data values. You can find the mean, median, and mode. Now, if you have a frequency distribution table, so we have class boundaries. You'll see these in newspapers or articles sometimes. You won't just see the whole list of data, but you'd instead have them in a table like this. So this, if we want to find the mean of this set of data that's been condensed into a table, then we use a weighted mean. So the weighted mean formula is, what we do is we're going to, again, add up. And what we have is the midpoints for each of the categories. So we'll do that x sub m. And then I multiply that by its frequency. So it's kind of like all of these 11, these 11 values that are somewhere between 55 and 63. I don't know what they are. I just know I have 11 in that range. So I need to somehow, account for those. So what we do is we use the midpoint of this class as a stand-in for each individual values. And so we're going to multiply those. So it's like I have 11 of whatever that middle value is instead of the 11 individual values. So it's going to be an estimate, but it's what we've got. So that's the numerator. And then the denominator, again, it's still the total that we have, which, and in case you're wondering, you see that is the sum of all of the frequencies. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this table here. And let's see, what did I say it was? Former classes pulse rate. So sometime I had a class and I made them all take their pulses, and this is the data that we had. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator here. So we're going to find, first thing we're going to do is find our class midpoints. So we do that by adding the 2 values and then divide by 2. So 59. And I'm going to keep going. And at some point I might see a pattern and stop doing the adding. So 68, 73 plus 81, divide by 2, 77. I think I see it, 86. You can check it just to make sure. So there are my class midpoints. I'm going to total up my frequencies there. 52. Okay, I really haven't had a class of 52. I must have combined a couple of classes there. Okay, so the total number of students whose pulse rates I had was 52. I need that for my denominator, That's my n. And now I'm going to do the product, So it's midpoints times the frequencies. So 59 times 11, 649, 68 times. You don't really need to see my calculator. I'm just multiplying. You can multiply along. You can pause. 12 times 77. And this is just an estimate. If we would have had the individual data values, all 52, I'd have to be adding all of those up. 344. Hopefully somebody's making sure I'm writing down these numbers right. Times 4. Correct them if I make a mistake. And now we're going to add up all of those. So 649 plus 8 plus 924 plus 344 plus 380. So the numerator, so this is the numerator. This is the sum of all the midpoints times the frequency. So the average, so it's x bar. This is our symbol for the mean for a sample. So that is 3725. It's our estimate. And then we divide by the total number. Our estimate for the mean of our population. So 375. That's the last number I have there, so I don't have to retype it. If I just do divide, it'll say answer. That'll take that last answer I had. Divided by 52. So the average pulse rate, wow, I didn't think it was going to be that low. 71.6. Cool. All right, so that's how you can do it if it's a grouped frequency. Now the other weighted mean that you might be more familiar with is finding out your GPA, right? So GPA is actually an example of a weighted mean. So depending on how many credits your class is worth, if you have, right, if they're not all just 5, right, they count in more. So it's like you have 2 values of A, 5 values of a B plus, 5 values of a B, and 5 values of an A minus. Okay. So when we do this, right, your number of credits, these are your frequencies. It's how many you have of this grade. So these are your X values, and these are your frequencies. Right, so remember, our mean, our average, grade point average, is we're going to sum up the frequencies times the values and then divide by the total number of frequencies, right, total number of credits. So for this one, 5, 10, 15, 17 is going to be our denominator. We have 17 credits. We have 2 at 4.0 and 5 at 3.3 and 5 at 3 and 5 at 3.7, right? So I've converted the letter grades to their numeric value. Okay, and then we're just going to do that computation, right? You're welcome to just do it on your own. You can watch me do it. It's not that exciting. Some of it I'm going to do in my head. Hopefully correct. Make sure I've got all pluses and times where I want them. I don't think I do. I see times when I wanted a plus. I'm going back to overstrike. See, I'm just using my little buttons up here. So 2 times 4, 5 times 3.3, 15, I make that one in my head, and then enter. So my numerator is 58 divided by 17. So 3.41. Usually you get 2 decimal values for a grade point average. Okay, well, there we go. My window's starting to get the glare on it. Okay, now I wanted to show you how to do these on your Texas Instrument calculators if you have one of those. If you have a different type of calculator, you should use Google or DuckDuckGo and look up how to do them there. So I know some of you may have a Casio calculator, and I know there are YouTube videos out there because I've had students do that before. Okay, but for us, we're going to go ahead and do, what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to do it on the serial ones, okay? So here we go. Oh, I'm going to get my calculator someplace. So I'm going to go ahead and, so we're going to enter our data into a list. So here are the places you want to go. So the first one is the stat menu. Can you see it right here? I'm pointing to it with my right finger. It's kind of by the arrows. It says STAT. So first thing you want to do is press that. And then we have, so your calculator is set up, it's menu driven. So we can edit. I'm just going to show you these things. We can calculate and we can run tests. We will do all of these this quarter. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is edit. So edit, edit. We're not going to do anything else on the edit screen, just that first one. So enter. When you hit enter, it lets you, it gets you to where you want to go. So if your calculator's like mine and it has stuff here and you want to clean things out, so I'm over in L1, so list 1, and I'm going to use my arrows to get up till I'm on the top and highlighted. Remember, you can pause if you need to catch up. So once you're up here, you can see down here, you see the numbers. Now I'm going to hit clear. They go away, and I'm going to hit enter. So clear was right here, sorry. Enter is down at the bottom. So enter to say, yep, I really meant it. And look at my L1. Now it's all clear. So I'm going to go ahead and enter those. Where did I just set my serials? Here we go. So I'm going to enter those serial values. So 190, and I'm entering in between 210. I do not have to put them in order. So they're all there. Find a spot where you can see this. Okay, so that was, so you can see here also on the printout, edit. So first the stat menu and then edit, edit. Then we're in our lists and we're inputting them all in after you've cleared it out. Here down here, I'm going to tell you, right, I have it written out how to clear out the list if you want to. Okay, so now we're going to do this next step. So that was all step 1. Step 2, we're going to calculate one variable statistics. So stat menu again. So stat right here, stat right there. And now we're going to go over to the calc, right? And the thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate one variable statistics. So when I hit, right, so that's one var stats, that's what we're on. So when I hit enter, so now I have to tell it what list I want it to do one variable statistics on. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but mine says L2. That's not where I put my stuff. I put it in L1, so I have to tell the calculator, hey, the stuff I want you to do this on is in L1. So here's how I do that. I'm going to go ahead and move my calculator one more time. So down here on the numbers, actually on all the keys, right, there's a blue something above it and a green something above it. I want to put in L1, so that's blue right by the number 1 key. So whenever you want something blue, to do that, first you need to hit the blue key up here. So I'm going to hit the second, so the blue, and then 1, and notice how it changed to L1 now. Frequency list. Now, I might do that in a separate video, but if you had like our, we'll do it now. But first we'll finish this one, sorry. We'll go back and do the weighted mean from the first one, and I'll show you that. So we're going to go ahead and calculate. And there we go, right? So we already did this on our serial. So we found our X bar, 201.4, same as we found before. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to show you one, right? The median. Hey, look, right there. I just scrolled down, right? This arrow says there's more stuff, so I scrolled down. Median is that second value, that 190. Okay, so let me show you how to do it with that weighted mean. So I'm going to grab that sheet and bring it back over. Okay. So what we want to do, so back to your stat. If you want to pause and catch your breath, that's okay. Hit the pause button, catch back up in a second. So stat edit. So I'm going to go over here to L2 and L3. I'm going to get me some space. So remember, up, clear, enter, over, up, clear, enter. I'm going to put my midpoints in L2, and I'm going to make myself a little note so I remember when I go back in. So L2, and I'm going to put my frequencies in L3. Okay? So L2, 59, 68, 77, 86, 95, and L3 is 11, 21, 12, 4, 4. Okay? So now, ready? Here we go. Stat, calc, one variable statistics. It does get easier, I promise. So the list, this is my L2. Those are the midpoints. So there, right? The L2 is on the 2 button. So second 2. Frequency list, I put that in my L3. So I have to tell my calculator that. So L3, of course, is going to be on the 3 button. And now calculate. Fingers crossed we get the same value, 71.6. The same. Awesome. And so you think, well, is there a median here as well? There would be, right? There would be a median value, or at least a median class. We could talk about a median class, right? So if I had 52 altogether, right, 52 total, so the median class would be, right, whichever one has the 26th, right, value, if they were ordered. And since they're like this, they're already ordered. So 11, right, this gets us up to 32. So somewhere in this 64 to 72 is where the median would be. So this would be our median class. And it would also be our modal class. Why do you suppose that would be our modal class as well? Right? Because it has the highest frequency. It was the most frequent class that came up. So you can do all 3 measures of central tendency if you have a grouped frequency distribution table as well. Okay? Awesome.